NVIDIA's newest GPU carries almost 300 gigabytes of memory, and it doesn't sit inside the chip. It stands beside it, in glowing towers, 12 chips high, each floor thinner than a human hair, welded together with tolerances no human hand could ever touch. Only 3 companies on Earth can build these towers. 2 of them are Korean, and in the age of AI, their old rivalry has become a war for every tower. This is high-bandwidth memory, Generation 4, HBM4. Start with what a tower actually is. High-bandwidth memory is a skyscraper of DRAM, memory chips stacked 12 high, drilled through with thousands of microscopic elevators and parked millimeters from the processor. At the bottom sits a special floor, the base die, the tower's brain, managing every bit that moves in and out. With HBM4, that brain became so complex it crossed into foundry territory, a story we've told in its own episode. What matters here, HBM4 doubles the data lanes of the last generation, over 2,000 lanes per tower, each running faster than 10 gigabits. And that performance has a price. A single 12-high tower reportedly sells for more than $600, and a top AI GPU needs several of them. The most expensive real estate on an AI chip is no longer logic. It's memory, which is why the 2 companies that perfected these towers are now fighting the defining battle of the AI supercycle. Before the duel, if you want the map of who actually captures AI's value choke point by choke point, that's what this channel does. 1 subscription and you'll never lose the plot. In one corner, SK hynix, the incumbent. In February 2026, it became the first company in the world to mass-produce HBM4, and according to industry reports, it locked in roughly 2/3 of NVIDIA's HBM4 orders for the Vera Rubin platform before rivals had even cleared validation. Its weapon is a process it has refined for a decade. The tower is bonded with liquid glue. A molten underfill flowed between the floors, a method the industry knows as MR-MUF. Its base die, famously, now comes from TSMC. The results landed this July. Quarterly revenue of 79 trillion won, up 257% in a year, with an operating margin of 76%. Numbers that look less like a memory company and more like a toll booth on the AI boom, and it is not slowing down. A 16-high, 48-gigabyte tower has already been demonstrated, and HBM4E samples are already shipping. In the other corner, Samsung, the memory king with something to prove. For 3 decades it owned DRAM, then the AI era arrived, and in high-bandwidth memory it stumbled, all the way to 3rd place behind Micron, according to analyst estimates. But write it off at your own risk. This quarter, Samsung took back the DRAM crown, 39% of the market, and its HBM4 counterattack is built on a weapon nobody else has. Everything under one roof. The memory floors come from its newest 6th-generation DRAM. The brain, the base die, comes from its own 4-nanometer foundry line. No partner, no foundry bill. Since February, its HBM4 has reportedly been shipping to NVIDIA and AMD, priced for the first time on par with SK hynix, and that 4-nanometer line is reportedly booked solid through 2027 by base dies and by NVIDIA's own inference chips. The comeback is not a promise, it is on the calendar. Now, the collision zones. First, the glue fork. SK hynix presses its towers together with liquid glue. Samsung and Micron use a film, a sheet pressed between floors under heat, a process called TC-NCF. At 12 floors, both work, but NVIDIA wants 16 floors in the second half of this year. 16 floors means grinding each memory wafer down to 30 microns, 1/3 of a human hair, and at that thickness, both glue and film are near their limits. Waiting at the door is hybrid bonding, fusing copper directly to copper, no glue at all, the same technology the equipment giants are racing to industrialize. Second, the third player. While the 2 Koreans watched each other, Micron took the flank, overtaking Samsung in HBM share by analyst counts and selling out its entire 2026 capacity. And third, price. average HBM prices actually fell this year as the old generation softened. The whole industry is betting that HBM4 volume, riding on Vera Rubin, turns that around this quarter. And beyond that waits the custom era, HBM4E, where the biggest AI companies order towers with base dies tuned to their own chips, memory quietly becoming a foundry business. So who wins the tower war? Wrong question. For now, SK hynix owns the present, first to mass production, the lion's share of Vera Rubin, and margins this industry has never seen. Samsung owns a different weapon, the only company that builds the tower and its brain under one roof, with a foundry hungry for the same customers. And Micron holds the flank. The real verdict arrives with the next floor. Whoever lands a working 16-high tower on NVIDIA's desk first, glue, film, or copper to copper, writes the rules of HBM4's second act. Watch 3 things. NVIDIA's 16-high call this half, Samsung's yield curve on its one-roof stack, and the first hybrid bonded tower to leave a Korean fab. The towers are only getting taller, and every AI chip on Earth is waiting. The tower's secret brain, and how TSMC ended up inside your memory, that story is on screen now. Subscribe and take the industry view.